Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global AM News here on Global Television. I'm Uji Agmofwebe. The Federal Character Commission has appealed to the National Assembly for stronger legislative backing, increased funding to enforce equity and fairness in all public service appointments across the country. Acting Chairman of the Commission, Kayode Oladele, made the appeal during an interactive session with members of the Committee on Federal Character in Abuja. A National Assembly correspondent, Anyetia Patrick, reports.
At a session with the House Committee on Federal Character, the acting chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Kayode Oladele, emphasized the need for closer collaboration with the National Assembly to ensure equity, inclusiveness, and fairness in governance. He revealed that despite the Commission's mandate to monitor over 700 ministries, departments, and agencies, along with offices in all 36 states and the FCT, it remains hampered by inadequate funding and limited enforcement powers. Oladele said some MDAs and state governments consistently undermine the Commission's efforts by refusing to cooperate or claiming to operate outside its jurisdiction. He is now calling on lawmakers to back amendments to the FCC Establishment Act to grant it greater autonomy, enforcement powers, and digital monitoring capacities.
A lot of things went wrong, which I would not want to say here, but we're in the process of making things right. Then a lot of agencies also we have written to, we asked them to submit their nominal roles, because I told my colleagues here, we had a meeting, I said what we're going to have to be able to ensure equitable and equal representation is to see for ourselves nominal roles of all the agencies.
In response, Chairman of the committee and former Deputy Speaker Idris Wase criticized agencies attempting to bypass or duplicate the Commission's responsibilities. He affirmed that the FCC's powers are rooted in the Constitution and not an act of Parliament.
We are also very unhappy with the interference now, I say interference, of some agencies of government who want to come in and do the job alongside with you. We are not in collaboration, we are not in support of that. The Constitution is very clear, it's a constitutional provision. You are creation of the Constitution, not an act. I'm not belittling the act of Parliament, but whatever law you have anywhere, what you have in the Constitution supersedes.
Wase also revealed that the Education Minister has been summoned over irregular appointments in new institutions where top officials reportedly hail from the same region, violating federal character principles. Anyetia Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Thank you, Anyetia. Members of the Julius Abure-led group of the Labour Party have protested at the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Abuja against the omission of its candidates' names for the upcoming elections. The protesters demonstrated against the Commission's decision not to publish the names of Labour Party candidates submitted by the Abure Group for Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections as some upcoming National Assembly by-elections. The protesters also brandished various placards with different messages. The federal government has expressed its determination to intensify efforts at improving sanitation and ending open defecation in the country as part of a nationwide Clean Nigeria campaign. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Chalumna Osef, who led and advocates a visit to the office of the Civil Service of the Federation in Abuja, called for commitment, collaboration, and concrete action. Kabir Hassan has details.
In a bid to achieve the open defecation-free Nigeria by 2025, the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign has continued to engage key institutions and stakeholders. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Talumun Uster, emphasizes the importance of behavioral change and public sector leadership in ending open defecation and promoting proper sanitation habits across ministries, departments, and agencies.
And this is aimed at ending open defecation by the year 2030. And by achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 6.2. on sanitation and hygiene. As of today, we are able to achieve 148 local governments that are open defecation free by integrating the sanitation and hygiene indicators into institutional performance assessment by assessing our performances at the ministry level, departments and agency level.
The head of civil service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson Jack, gave assurance of the full support, noting that all public institutions must comply with sanitation standards. She noted that the campaign aligns with the ongoing reform agenda of the civil service and promised that her office will open its doors to continuous collaboration with the ministry.
I want to assure you, Honorable Minister, that not only as a member of the water family, but as someone who is keenly concerned to see that the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign succeeds, you can be rest assured that myself as an individual and my office will give your ministry all the support that we have. We are in full support of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign, and we join your train of advocacy and sensitization and partnership and collaboration. Count on us any day, anytime.
As federal government rallies institutions toward ending open defecation, with the clock ticking toward the 2025 deadline, the civil service has now thrown its weight behind the Clean Nigerian campaign on a bold step that could flush out open defecation once for all as major boost in national sanitation drive. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Kabir. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has decorated police officers who were recently promoted in recognition of their exceptional service, courage, and integrity. The officers were honored for winning national police awards, including Police Officer of the Year for 2023 and 2024. Our security correspondent, Kikalamo Okere, has more.
Among the decorated are CSP Shaba Aliu, promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police, and SP Setomi Obi, promoted to Chief Superintendent of Police. Decorating the newly promoted officer, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, says the initiative is part of a broader effort by the Nigerian Police Force to reward excellence, boost morale, and promote meritocracy within the force. He emphasized that recognizing outstanding officers is essential to fostering a culture of professionalism and dedication, which is critical to enhancing public trust and effective policing.
We are not merely decorating officers. We are defining a legacy. This moment marks a deliberate and strategic departure from the shadows of mediocrity. It's a resounding reaffirmation of what we stand for: excellence, integrity, merit, and national pride. We have come to honor men whose stories now serve as institutional case studies in courage and professionalism.
IGP Egbetokun also urged the promoted officers to continue upholding the highest standards of discipline to serve as the role model for their colleagues. He noted that their exemplary conduct and achievements set the tone for others and contribute positive to the overall mission of the police force in safeguarding the nation's security.
The process that led to their emergence was deliberately rigorous, grounded in objectivity and insulated from influence. It was a process designed to sift not just for performance, but for character. And they rose to the top, not by accident, not by favor, but by merit. Let every officer here take note.
IGP reiterated the force's commitment to continuous capacity and ensuring that hard work and integrity are duly rewarded at all levels. Kike Lomo Ukeri,
Global Television News.
World Breastfeeding Week is celebrated every year in the first week of August, championed by the World Health Organization, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, Ministries of Health, and civil society partners around the globe. Our correspondent Zarau Nasir in these special reports takes a look at the importance of the week.
The theme for this year is Investment in Breastfeeding and Invest in the Future. World Breastfeeding Week is a time to recognize breastfeeding as a powerful foundation for lifelong health, development, and equity. Medical experts say breastfeeding boosts cognitive development, strengthens economies, and sets children up with healthy beginnings. Some nursing mothers interviewed share their experiences on the importance of breastfeeding their babies.
One, it makes the baby smart. Secondly, it makes the baby grow very well, and more of it reduces some costs like nanny and all those Cerelac are expensive.
And it's a natural food from God to them. Without money, you can breastfeed your baby anywhere, anytime, at your convenience, because you are not paying for it, just like a free gift.
Whether you breastfeed or not, the breast will surely sag. Like my daughter doesn't suck directly, but she breastfeeds. We're on exclusive breastfeeding. But she doesn't suck directly. She reefs. Breastfeeding is cheaper, it is easier, and your baby tends to get all the nutrients he or she is supposed to get as the baby. Actually, my two babies have been doing exclusive for them, including this one. So I definitely pregnancy will even make the breast to go down. So what's the need of preventing it?
To me, breastfeeding is the best way to give my baby all the nutrients and vitamins and everything he needs. Because during my antenatal, they told us the importance of breastfeeding. The breast milk is the most important food for the baby.
A consultant obstetrician, gynecologist Dr. Love Okafu sheds light on the importance of breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding is a total nutritional package. It's very important because it provides nutrition for the baby. The baby is healthier, the brain develops better. Also, it prevents early childhood diseases like diarrhea diseases. Also prevents asthma and development of allergies.
Modern women do not seem to support breastfeeding. Dr. Lab Okapu speaks on the implications.
The implication is that you don't have a healthy baby. Your baby comes down very sick all the time. You are in and out of hospital because the baby is vomiting, the baby is having diarrhea diseases. Okay, academically, so the babies, they don't do well. Okay, a healthy baby is a baby that goes to school, the baby becomes healthy, does not miss classes, they go to anything that all their mates they are doing. So,
breastfeeding is as old as man, and the theme for this year's commemoration makes a strong case for stakeholders to prioritize investment in this gift of nature. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you so very much, Zarao. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says the country has recorded 155 deaths from Lassa fever between January 1 and July 20 this year. The case fatality rate now stands at 18.9%, higher than the 17.1% recorded during the same period in 2024. As of Epidemiological Week 29, Nigeria has reported a total of 6,640 suspected cases and 822 confirmed cases across 21 states and 105 local government areas. Sokoto State Government has rolled out a mandatory 2-year rural service scheme for all medical professionals trained by the state. The initiative, announced by Commissioner for Health, Dr. Farouk Abubakar, targets doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and allied health workers, mandating them to serve in rural health facilities upon graduation. This move, the government says, is a strategic effort to bridge the health worker gap in underserved communities. This is Global Television. You're watching the live broadcast of the AM News. When the rest of the broadcast returns, Team Nigeria wins 6 medals at inaugural African School Games in Algeria. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories for you on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. We appreciate you still with everyone on this news broadcast. The second part of it now returns with business. In a bold move to empower Nigeria's youth, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, also called Credit Corp, to make consumer credit more accessible to young citizens. Director General of the service, Brigadier General Mohammed Abubakar, says the signing of the document marks a new chapter in financial inclusion for the country's working population. Ubongo Soro was there for Global Television.
Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation Credit Corp is a federal government development finance institution on a mission to democratize consumer credit. Through this partnership with NYSC, core members and other young Nigerians will now have better access to loans and financial support designed to help them build their futures. The Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Mohammed, says the MOU signifies commitments to improving the welfare of core members by facilitating their access to vital financial resources needed to succeed during and after their service.
It's safer to buy with your credit card, because even if your credit card gets compromised, you are not losing money. Unlike your debit card, once you tap and they pick your debit card, whatever is out of your account is gone. But of course, your credit card, you can easily.
The chairman, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, says the collaboration opens new doors for core members to access affordable credit to start businesses and meet personal needs during and after their service year. He noted that the goal is to reach underserved Nigerians and partner with NYSC to deliver tailored consumer credit solutions directly to young people across the nation.
Specific consumer credits for youth core members. At the heart of youth credit is actually not just credit, but credit orientation. That is teaching young Nigerians, especially as they are coming into the workforce, teaching them good credit habits, teaching them how to build a credit history, teaching them how to plan financially and borrow responsibly.
This partnership between Credit Corp and NYSC is expected to boost youth entrepreneurship and financial inclusion nationwide. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
Foreign capital inflows into Nigeria's banking sector rose sharply to $7 billion in 2024, the highest annual figure recorded since 2019. While the spike in inflows comes amid heightened recapitalization efforts by Nigerian banks following new capital requirements announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria in 2024, it has been observed that hot money accounts for 90% of capital importation into the country. Let's take you to the foreign scene now, where Carol Naroshi, a nationalist historian backed by U.S. President Donald Trump, has been sworn in as Poland's president, marking a significant shift from the country's previous centrist pro-European government.
At just 42 years old, Karol Nawrocki becomes Poland's youngest head of state in recent decades. He clinched a narrow victory over Liberal candidate Rafał Trzaskowski in the June election, securing just over 50% of the vote. In his inaugural address at Warsaw's Parliament building, Nawrocki promised to champion a constitutional overhaul aimed at protecting Polish sovereignty. He also issued a strong warning against what he called increasing interference from Brussels and the European Union.
Obejmując z woli narodu urząd prezydenta Rzeczypospolitej Polskiej.
Obejmując z woli narodu urząd prezydenta Rzeczypospolitej Polskiej.
Nawrocki's inauguration signals a pivotal moment in Poland's politics. While he supports NATO's eastern flank and vows to maintain ties with allies, his presidency sets the stage for confrontation with the Tusk government over democratic norms, EU integration, and control of Poland's historical narrative. Uyi Agbomofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
On a side note, Ghana is in mourning following a tragic military helicopter crash that claimed the lives of the country's defense minister, Dr. Edward Omane Broma, and Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, alongside 6 others. The chopper en route to Obuasi lost radar contact shortly after takeoff and went down in the Adansi Akrofom area.
I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash: Dr. Edward Kofi Omane Broma, Minister for Defense; Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology;
President Nana Akufo-Addo has declared a national day of mourning as investigations into the cause of the crash are underway. In Cameroon, a leading opposition figure has been disqualified from the upcoming presidential election. The decision by the Constitutional Council is sparking outrage among political observers and rights advocates. Our foreign desk correspondent Mukhtar Kassim now reports.
Maurice Kamto, who finished second in the 2018 presidential race, has been officially barred from contesting the 2025 elections in Cameroon. He had planned to run under the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, MANIDEM, after leaving the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. But the Constitutional Council says his candidacy is invalid because MANIDEM, like his former party, holds no elected seat in parliament or local government. The court admitted Kamto's appeal but ruled it had no merit. Another MANIDEM aspirant was also disqualified. A MOVE party leader, Enit Ekane, described as politically motivated. So far, 13 candidates, including long-term President Paul Biya, have been cleared to run. Also on the list are opposition voices like Cabral Libi and Joshua Osi. Over 80 people had initially declared interest in the race. Access to the council's full ruling was restricted, and Kamto is yet to issue a public response. With elections slated for October, concerns around fairness and political inclusivity continue to grow, raising doubts over the credibility of the process. Mukhtar Kassim, reporting for Global Television News.
Well, thank you, Mukhtar. Let's turn to sports for you now. Nigeria has put on an impressive display on day 4 of athletics at the inaugural African School Games in Algeria, clinching 6 medals, 2 gold and 4 silvers across various track and field events. Highlight of the day came from sprinter Miracle Ezechukwu, who stormed to victory in the girls' 200-meter final, claiming gold. She was closely followed by compatriots Rosemary Chigozie Nwankwo, who took silver as Nigeria completed a remarkable 1-2 finish in the event. And that's your AM News. Thank you so very much for watching. We'd love to remind you that you can find us on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes 276. Also, engage with us across all of our social media platforms using our Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe saying a big thank you to you for watching. Global Morning starts shortly. Well, thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us here. This is Global Television. As always, it's a delight to know that you made out time for us this morning. The next 3 hours will not only bring return on investment of your time, of course, it will also be very informative, as is always the case. I'm Uyi Agumofo saying thank you so very much for tuning in this morning to be part of Global Morning here on Global Television. My colleague Jumai Manson will join in a few minutes. She's right around the corner. But just to quickly say, we commiserate with the people of Ghana. I mean, the government and the people of Ghana for the tragic incident from yesterday. The chopper crash that took the lives of 2 ministers, very prominent members of the Ghanaian cabinet, as well as 6 other crew members. Quite a tragic incident. Of course, we've seen so much of condolences pouring in, including from the Nigerian government, first off from the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu. It's just one very grim reminder of what air crashes, whether it's jet or helicopter, can do to governments, to people, to communities. Quite a sad one. Well, we understand that the authorities in Ghana are still investigating the cause of this very unfortunate event. So we hope to also share those details with you once they're available. But back at home in Nigeria, we've also seen maybe a little more than a fair share of this kind of crash as well. We've seen it happen, across board. Passenger planes, we've seen chopper crashes, one that even took the life of former governor of Kaduna State, Patrick Yakowa, blessed memory. Of course, you understand the former NSA, that is the National Security Advisor, was also there, talking about late General Azazi, was also there on that chopper. And then one that was also very close to home, former Chief of Army Staff in this country, whose life alongside some of his other men were snuffed out on account of chopper crash. So we've had quite a number of all of this. But again, we see that there are ongoing efforts to ensure as much awareness is created about all of these. We hope that this will be one turning point in terms of how we approach issues that border on crashes of any kind. Again, we commiserate with the governments and people of Ghana. We're taking a quick break now. When we return, we'll talk a bit more. Of course, we have up ahead for you a review of the national dailies today. Please do stay with us. All right, thank you everyone for staying with us. It's a Thursday. The week again is grinding to a fast horse. Some people will say the other time was weekend and everybody was falling over themselves to get back to work on Monday morning. It's already the fourth working day into another weekend. We're delighted tonight that we're sharing this Thursday morning with you here on Global Morning. My colleague Jumai Mansin, who is here to lend her voice as always to some of these big conversations this morning to help us kickstart an interactive day, of course beginning from Global Morning, is also on the program today. Jumai, it's a delight to have you on the program.
How you doing, Uyabomofwe?
I'm being good and staying grateful.
Always holding it down.
What do I do?
All right, and of course it's great to be here. It's a beautiful Thursday morning like we has already mentioned. And of course I am Jumai Manzi, but we didn't do justice to the intro. I'm just shocked. I'm surprised.
Well, I guess I didn't take a very good look at your outfit. Maybe I should have started the whole long talk
It's
from
very
there.
important.
But as always, Jumai doesn't miss out when it comes to looking gorgeous and delectable.
Oh, now I like that intro.
We have to compensate for it.
You have no choice. All right, it's great to be here. Good morning to each and every one of you. Good morning.
All right, great. I was just talking a while ago while you were behind camera getting ready to jump on the show about Ghana and the incident from yesterday.
Yes, 8
the plane crash, yes.
Two
all right.
ministers. And two
Yeah,
successful.
and when you look at those stories, it just pops up several questions in your head. What exactly are we not doing right? What are we not getting right by way of regulation? But of course, people have also talked about human error, act of God, and all of that.
Exactly.
But let's
Exactly.
not jump into speculation because the Ghanaian authorities have said they are taking their time to look into all of these to determine, as they always say, the immediate and remote causes of this tragic event.
It really is just unfortunate. I think investigations should be ongoing at about this point to find out the cause of the helicopter crash, which was a very unfortunate incident. 2 ministers and 6 other prominent individuals on board the plane. But you see, that's the thing. I think we have a role to play for as much as it could be an act of God, but let's just do our part when it comes to checking, when it comes to the tires, when it comes to the engine, when it comes to all of these things in comparison. I think we have a lot to do. We have a role to play. We shouldn't be negligent. There are circumstances where other countries, they've had crashes, like the Indian one that happened, which there are speculations that the pilot must have been suicidal because he lost his mom and he turned something off, and then you've been following the story about
those again are still theories.
Those still theories, speculations, and all of that encompass. But I know the needful will be done when it comes to investigations, and our heart goes out to the people of Ghana. It's just a very unfortunate incident there. These are top ministers who have added value in the country, and it's just unfortunate that the end came for them yesterday, unfortunately so.
Incidentally, we understand that details of the findings by the aviation authorities in Ghana will be made public in due course. We hope to also follow all of those for you. But something very big again has been consistently happening. The wife of the president reaching out to people who have been affected by insecurity and flood, whether it's in Benue, in Plateau or
Niger.
in Niger State, all right, using the platform of our Renewed Hope initiative to push support for them in terms of cash, in terms of material items, and supporting women, vulnerable people, children across these communities. Maybe it's also a reminder that we can't do more than that. I know one thing sticks out for me from most of the things she said these last couple of days, saying that, look, this is not money from government. This is not public money as we know it. Yes, she's using a Renewed Hope initiative to mop up all of these supports, from people, entities, and things like that. Maybe it's a way of saying that government needs to now restructure better in terms of response. We understand, for example, President Bola Tinubu has visited Benue State.
Yes, he has.
All right, but the question is, in what way did that visit shape the way we respond to aftermath of disasters, of killings, such as we have seen in Yelwata and things like that, right? Did it just end with the visit, or did we see material, if you like, concrete, sort of physical efforts in that direction to say, okay, well, we can't bring back the lives that have been lost apparently,
No.
but what can we do to support those who are left behind, those who are left to mourn, those who have sadly lost their breadwinners, of course, homeless, many of them are even so traumatized.
livelihood.
The last thing they want to do is go back to their ancestral homes.
Like I always said, and there are lots of controversies concerning the visit to Benue State by our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some will say it's a campaign strategy, some will say all sorts, but I think we need to be very up on our game when it comes to responding to issues like this, especially when it has to do with human life. I think once we place that priority, once we place that importance on human life, it goes a long way. I think it settles us and gives us that empathy and sympathy for each and every one of us and those who are involved to go all out. Now, taking a step back to what the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is doing when it comes to speaking out and saying these are not public funds, it has nothing to do with government funds and all of that, it's just from parastatus institutions. It's just a way of saying that you and I have a role to play. Those who are advantaged can also lend that helping hand to individuals who are less privileged. So we shouldn't leave everything. It's an indirect statement saying do not leave everything to government, because the truth is government is not perfect. It starts with you and I to make a difference. So individuals in all of these parastatus who can actually add value to individuals who need this sort of help, it goes a long way in that sort of way.
Yeah, I totally agree. But then again, it means that our response must be better, whether we're using the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and disaster management. Their funding too must be a matter of priority. Because let's be clear, unless we want to lie to ourselves, you can't respond to disasters, you can't respond to aftermath of insecurity and its outcomes without resources. So we must ensure that again is a matter of priority.
And to add to what you've said, I've seen where relief materials are given to IDPs, how we try to, give relief materials from various individuals, parastatus, but I think it should not end there. Because these are individuals who, before all of these incidents, all of these up and down distortion that happened in their lives, they had a sense of belonging. So I think entrepreneurship programs and at the same time to just give them a sense of belonging, because most of these individuals in the IDP camps are just there. So most of them are just there sitting down waiting for the next breakthrough or something, or thinking about how their life was better off where they are. Because really it's just that we've not heard responses from individuals in IDP camps. Some are they're grateful that they are alive, but at the same time, the trauma. So in order for them to move forward, to ensure that the trauma doesn't live with them, to make better of their lives, I think they should be empowered at the same time, even when you are stretching forth that hand of fellowship. It will go a long way.
Quite brilliantly said. All right, let's take a break at this point, everyone. We'll take a break now. When we return, it will be time to look at the papers for you and guide you through the day's news. Do stay with us.
All right, you are welcome back, and it's Global Morning on Global Television, and at about this time is the newspaper reviews segment, and I'll start with the first paper of the day, and it is the Nigerian News Direct. Now, above the nameplate, it says controversy as Igbin Power Ikeja Electric, others deny report of receiver manager appointment, and that you will see on page 2. And the writer says CPPE raises alarm, warns of looming power sector collapse, which we do not want, right?
Right.
And then next it says Sanwo-Olu commissioned strategic road projects in Badagry, and the writer says assures of greater inclusion for border communities, and that read you will find on page 19. Now the Star story reads no coronations in ADC 2027 ticket and open fight, and that's from the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And the writer reads as coalition fumes over food crisis worsening insecurity, and that read you will find on page 18. Now below the foot of the Nigerian Direct, it says FG's 38.3 trillion naira assets under audit to boost transparency, and that's from MOFI, and that you will get on page 2. FCT cancel elections, LP members protest at INEC headquarters over missing candidates, and that you will find on page 6. And here it says NAICE 2025 Nigerians 3 MBD ambition faces talent shortage crisis, and those are from the words of industry leaders, and they warn, and that you will find on page 20. Now those are all the major headlines making rounds on the Nigerian News Direct, so go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast with the news making rounds. Next is the Nigerian Tribune. Over to you.
Thank you, Jumai. Let's begin with the star headline on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Many abandoned estates funded by corrupt civil servants. That's according to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, vows to beam searchlight on real estate sector. You have those details on page 11. The EFCC appears to be more systemic and systematic in their method by the day. They are now saying that this is not just, it's not longer enough to run after Jumai because he's a former governor or a four-time senator. Let's also look at Uyi, who is in real estate. Let's track his source of funding.
Exactly.
Where is he coming from? For how long has he been in business?
Who is his financier?
That's right. Is it possible he's using this as real estate as a front?
Exactly.
While having underhand dealing,
drug baron,
whatever it is. So we've got to track it. I think that's how it works. All right. Beyond all of the hula balu we see on front pages of newspaper, former governor, former senator, and things like that. All right. Because whether you like it or not, we now know, for example, that fighting corruption is something that requires a strategy beyond media trial and all of the noise that we see. And there are those who now say that it's good to look at this and see exactly what more we can uncover. But let's look at more headlines for you as we take it further down. Now, it says 24,000 Nigerians declared missing since 2015. That's a whole lot of number. That's according to the International Committee of the Red Cross. NCAA suspends ValueJet pilots over safety breach at Abuja Airport, accuses Kwam1 of breaching aviation regulation. You are wondering how Kwama was dragged into all of this.
Exactly.
Well, you can read all those details on page 6. 2 Ghanaian ministers, 6 others killed in helicopter crash. Juma and I mentioned that a while back.
Yes, we did.
Pregnancy in sickle cell disease, what everybody needs to know. Professor Bosede Afolabi. Uncertainty in APC, PDP, LP, others ahead of Anambra, Osun, Ekiti, Guba polls. 2 writers say all eyes on Tinubu. LP banks on Peter Obi. Motorists, commuters groan over deplorable federal roads in Southwest. And then we'll look at 2 headlines above the name master of the Nigerian Tribune today, and then we'll call it a wrap on this paper. Top left, Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, NPAN, NGE, others pay tributes to Doyin Abiola, who has now passed on at the age of 82. Well, so much has been said about her the last 24 hours or so, starting with the president himself. How that she came, saw, and conquered.
A matriarch.
Exactly, especially as it has to do with this prestigious media industry. All right, lastly, 7% seaport surcharge threatens cargo clearance at Nigerian ports. The 2 writers tell us, levy not ours, customs CG. Cost of vehicles will rise. motor dealers. Of course, that's a no-brainer. Once you shoot this surcharge, it means that it's only natural that the cost of purchasing vehicles will rise. All right, go pick up a copy of the Nigerian Tribune today. Read up details for yourself as Jumai takes us through the New Telegraph now.
All right now, thank you, Uyi. Of course, now the New Telegraph, now above the nameplate, it says, CBN's monetary stance crashes government loans to 23.73 trillion naira. And still above the nameplate, it says, Nigerian retains high yields on one-year bill to lure investors. And that read you will find on page 25. Now, the star story on the New Telegraph says, Olukoyede, many abandoned. In his words, he says, many abandoned estates in Abuja owned by civil servants. Okay, and the writer read, who stole public funds? And it says, why corruption cases rising in Nigeria by Sanusi, says most public office holders today not well brought up. And you can find that very curious read on page 2 and 4 of the New Telegraph. Now, beside all of that, it says Lagos official, borehole users in Lekki drinking feces water. Oh my goodness. That should be a sight for sore eyes.
That's on the extreme, isn't it?
That's on the extreme. I would wonder I don't know how.
Obviously, there must have been a compromise of some kind somewhere.
Exactly.
Right in between, which now calls for, again, quick moves around sanitation, hygiene, and if you like, stricter regulatory approach to things like this, because these are human lives you're talking.
These are human lives we're talking about, and we wonder where that breach is coming from, so it could be corrected with immediate effect. So please, that read you will find on page 7. And of course, on page 2 and 7, it says, report of INEC's rejection of our leadership, fake news, and that's from ADC. And writer says Tinubu's premature re-election campaign, breach of Electoral Act. And at the foot of the New Telegraph, it says Tinubu endorses pension increase for retirees, and that you will find on page 4 and 7. Now, of course, that's a step in the right direction. We don't have democracy, Secondus fears for Nigeria's future, and that you will find on page 6 and 7. And here it says, poor sleep can lead to chronic pain. Study. For those of you that don't take 8 hours sleep, well, you should look this up. You better learn to sleep
and
more.
Make the effort, right?
Make the effort, because it says it causes pain. So it's important we understand that the maximum, is it maximum or minimum now that you can get?
8 hours.
It's 8 hours. So let's try. Can we really?
Let's hit the target.
Can we really? But let's see how well this plays out. But that's what study has proven and shown. So please, 8 hours sleep will go a long way to give you vitality and good bones and health. All right. Next paper, we have the Daily Times. Over to you now.
All right, so let's begin the Daily Times with the headline. I just sent the name out this morning. It says Daily Times mourns former staff, media icon Doyin Abiola. As suspected, a story is also replicated across most major national dailies today. But then it brings us to the big headline. Insurgency, that's the kicker. It says insurgency, 24,000 still missing in Northeast. Again, that's according to the International Committee of the Red Cross. Ojulari rallies stakeholders' involvement in Nigeria's future energy. Tinubu mourns Ghanaian ministers killed in helicopter crash. If you look at there, you see pictures of excavation and search going on. Of course, as expected, with all of the ones we call Babola in this part of the country, scavengers all on site. Nigerians suffer as APC abandons governance for 2027 campaigns. That's according to ADC, the platform for the coalition. Ebonyi issues 7-day ultimatum to WAEC over unreleased results. Foreign investments in telecom sector declines by 58%. Those business details await you on page 12 of the Daily Times today. Not quite a number of headlines on Daily Times, so you can pick up a copy and find details. Let's turn to the Nation newspaper now, everyone.
All right, now the Nation newspaper, and above the nameplate it says here, and of course that's the DGNYSC there, and that you will flip to page 4, and it says 200,000 naira loan for serving corps members in 9 billion naira deal. All right, now it says Ikeja Disco sinks into ownership crisis, and page 7 it says here, IE rejects receivership. And on page 2 and page 5, it says 2 Ghanaian ministers, others killed in crashed helicopter. And Omokri, Lagos remains safest state in Nigeria. All right. And it says torrents of tributes for media icon Doyin Abiola. And the Star Story reads, President hails Nigerian teenagers for fit at Global English Language Contest, and that you will find on page 27. Now, money laundering, EFCC launches probe into real estate, okay? Agency secures interim forfeiture of 15 estates, how public servants are involved. And it says free health care for low-income pensioners. President directs action of pension increase. And still on the Nation at the foot, it says here, Kwam 1, that's King Wasiu Ainde Mashal 1, rejects fans' claim on alleged boarding rules infraction. And that's on page 5. So go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds on the Nation newspaper. Next is the Daily Trust. But let's quickly go on a very quick break. The program continues shortly with, of course, newspaper review shortly. Stay tuned.
All right, let's continue the newspaper review this morning with the Daily Trust. This time, top right corner of the paper says what to know about new insurance law. Of course, we all should know a thing or two about that. Page 24 is where you find details. Burning Gwari, motorcycle phone thefts replace abductions. That's some very interesting switch there. Civil servants used money to build estates. Civil servants used stolen money to build estates. That's according to the EFCC. So we look forward to what happens in this regard now. Taraba, 8 months without deputy governor. So what has happened to the deputy governor of Taraba? That he has not been seen or been actively doing his job for 8 months. So, well, that's a state where you have Governor Kefa Sabu as the governor, by the way, and then the deputy governor is the one being said not to have been on for 8 months now. All right, further down here, you see pictures of the crash of the Ghanaian helicopter from yesterday. States activate control measures as flood wreaks havoc. Juma and I took out time to extensively talk about flooding and its impacts, adverse impacts, that is, on the program yesterday. Bottom right, anti-party PDP to take action on Wike next week. Israel plans full occupation of Gaza as 130 people killed. Ghana Defense Environment Ministers killed in helicopter crash. Quite a sad event. I mean, we can't say that enough. But then let's take the time now to look at headlines from the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, now the Vanguard newspaper, above the nameplate, it says 2027, Jonathan ready to run again, Close Ali confirms. And that you'll find on page 8 and 9. Now it says, meets IBB, consults South-South stakeholders in Port Harcourt. And the next writer says, PDP intensifies effort to woo him. I have my doubts on that. I don't think so. It's just me, my own
about
opinion.
former President Jonathan,
Of
right?
course, of course. And here it says, FG urged to suspend chairman Uniport's governing council over allegations of corruption. And that you'll find on page 33. Now, the Star story reads, and we have heavyweights here. We have up there President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. We have Atiku Abubakar. Peter will be here. And we have, of course, Amechi here, powerhouses. And it says 2027 options before the North. And the writer reads, faces tough choices over Tinubu, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, Amechi. And that you will find on page 10. Now on page 5 it says many abandoned estates in Abuja owned by civil servants, and that's from the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and that's read is on page 5. Now on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper it says Ghana Defense Environment Ministers, 6 others die in military helicopter crash, unfortunate incident there. Now, on page 13, in the voice of Emir Sanusi, he says, thieves should not be rewarded with ministerial appointments. Okay, and on page 12, it says, YX Parents Group wants papers cancelled. Really? How about individuals that pass?
What do we do?
What do we do? Are we going to, of course,
so should we throw the baby in the bathwater?
No, we cannot, but I'm sure there should be a compromise. There should be a balance to figure all this out. And here it says, late Doyin Abiola to be buried in Lekki, family confirms. And it says, as Tinubu governors NPAN, NGF mourn. And that's on page 7. And here it says, FG approves tax incentives for manufacturers using local raw materials. And I think that's a step in the right direction in order to promote our raw materials from here, from Nigeria. And that's on page 19. And here it says, basically that is all on the Vanguard newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy. And then we're flipping over to Punch Sports Extra.
Right.
Over to you, Uwe.
All right, let's look at sports. Punch Sports Extra now. We'll begin with the headline just above, the name masts, top left corner of it. AFN confirms Ophelis Turkey switch. That's been a while coming, but again, as they say, it is what it is. NDD undergoes Besiktas medical today. Villarreal battle Leipzig for Aribo. What's more here, mentality key to WAFCON comeback Wayne Uchebe. And then we have the big one, icons to outcasts. How Osimhen Lookman fell out of favor with Italian clubs. Of course, we have seen Osimhen and what has happened between him and Napoli in Italy, and now we've also seen Lookman, Africa's finest, as they say.
Yes.
All right, also having his own sort of friction, if you like, with his club Atalanta, and now we understand that he had to write a strongly worded letter requesting exit from the club. But it doesn't have to be like this, because we believe that there's a contract between the player and the club. What are the specific terms provided for in those contracts.
And of course, people forget to realize that contracts are binding between the two individuals. So I am sure once this is all cleared out, there's always a proper way of doing, in your own words, there's always a proper way of doing things. So I think the proper way should be done.
Exactly, between the players and their club.
Yes, very important.
All right, let's look at a few more for you here. Left corner of the front page of the paper, Chelsea unveiled Estevao. Sesko agrees terms with Devils, that's with, of course, Manchester United. Madrid receives 65 million euros sports offer for Rodrigo. The way they call this money, I mean, I just see calculator popping up in my head, trying to do the conversion from whatever figure it is in euro to naira, but then it turns out I'm not the player being signed.
No.
Interesting. Well, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper for you now. Jomai will bring us the headlines from that very last paper on this segment.
Oh, yes, it is. And of course, the Guardian newspaper here. And below the nameplate, it says Nigeria may split without restructuring before 2027. And that's from Wodo. And he warns. And that's on page 3. And here it says, appeal court restores interim for future order on assets linked to Yahaya Bello. And that's on page 30. Now on page 4, it says, JAM sets higher bar for under 16 candidates. Okay, let's see what that is all about. So you have to go over to page 4 to find out. First Lady's humanitarian donations hit 12.9 billion naira in 2 years, and that's on page 6. Now, IPAC writes RSIEC rejects August 30th state local government elections. Ainde risk ban over unruly behavior at Abuja Airport, and that's on page 2. And below all of that, it says ADC APC chieftain warns Tinubu to shelve re-election focus on governance. And that is on page 6. And it says insurance stock jump 10% after Tinubu signed law to recapitalize industry. That's on page 3. And it says here Tinubu, NPAN, NGE, NUJ, others mourn, pay tributes to late Doyin Abiola. And of course, that's one of the wives of MKO Abiola, the late MKO Abiola. May her soul rest in perfect peace. And that you will find on page 5. And it says Rep decries non-release of immunization funds. And that is on page 4. And below the foot of the Guardian, it says 6 FMCG firms' cost of sale surged by 24% to 562 billion in Q2. And that read is on page 18. And of course, that's the last paper on the newspaper review segment. And of course, every editorial judgment that has been read out, Global Television has no impute whatsoever on the pages of these newspapers. But go out and get yourself a copy of the pages to get yourself abreast with the issues, or will I say the headlines making round. And of course, it's a wrap on the newspaper review segment. Up next is the weather report, and then we'll delve into social media with Ogochukwu Mobono. Let's see what the social media have in stock for us. Stay tuned. It's Global Morning. Don't go anywhere.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
morning, the Global Morning crew, and of course, good morning to you, our esteemed viewers. I am Ogot Kumobno. Today we'll be looking at what's buzzing on the internet, and it is a topical issue right now in the country. Lagos flood alert. The Lagos state government has issued an urgent warning to residents in flood-prone areas of Lekki, Ikorodu, and Ajegule, advising them to move to higher ground as heavy rainfall continues to batter the state. Speaking on politics today on Channels Television on Tuesday, August the 5th, the Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, said the warning follows forecast of intensified rainfall and growing risk of disaster in low-lying areas. Those around the Ajilete axis of Lagos, that's Ajegule, they have to move, Wahab said. Those along the coastline in Ikorodu, such as Majidun, also need to move. Some part of Lekki Corridor too, all are affected. Notes Wahab also flagged Isheri in the Opik area as a location of concern, urging residents there to be on high alert. He added that the area like Ekpe, Mushin and Ikeja remains relatively safe from severe flooding. The warning comes after widespread flooding left many parts of Lagos underwater following the torrential rainfall that began Sunday night and continued through Monday, August 4th. Viral video showed submerged homes, stranded vehicles, and waterlogged streets, severely disrupting daily life and businesses activities in the state. Wahab also said that the environmental crisis was anticipated based on earlier projections from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, which forecast heavier rainfall for Lagos in 2024 compared to previous years. He also moved further to say for those in the lowlands of Lagos, they must move to upland areas until the rain subsides, he said. Wow. Where are they moving to? That is the question. But we're going to be taking our comments shortly, and we're going to look at what people think about, you know, this discussion. And the first comment is coming from King Kerry. And King Kerry says, climate change is overchanging in all parts of the world. I hope the people heed to the advice and take steps towards temporal change. The folks in Lokoja should also be advised to relocate. Very good, honestly, because we have River Niger, we have the Lokoja River, River Niger, River Benue, all conflicting in that area. The second comment is coming from official Queen Benita. And Benita says, relocate to where? They just say whatever they feel like saying without thinking it's true. Is it true? Honestly, relocate to where, honestly, at this point, because these people, these are their homes, and some of them already built their own personal houses, so it's not even just rents. So the last but not the least comment is coming from Fikondemi, and Fikondemi says, this is a serious situation, and the warning is valid. Anyone living in those flood-prone zones should not wait. Lagos is mostly low-lying, and with the kind of rainfall we've seen this year, the risk is real. People should move temporarily to safer areas, especially families with kids. Government also needs to act faster, not just with warning, but with real emergency shelters and drainage solutions. We can't keep reacting like this every year. Honestly, there have to be permanent solutions. But I know the government try to create drainages and also canals for these waters to move, but then a lot of persons kind of go block those drainages by, you know, pouring refuse bin inside these canals and the drainages, which is not really healthy for the people. It is not good, because times like this are there to, you know, they're bound to happen, and we really do not want things like this to be happening all the time. Whenever it is rainy season, people are scared. A lot of persons will tell you, do not rent a house until it is rainy season. You get to know how the terrain of that environment is going to be, if it's going to be flooding or not. Then, you know, this is one of them. We do not want to keep hearing things like this. If there is anything to be done, please, the government should please put things in place. But we as citizens should also learn to keep our environments clean. Do not block drainages. If the governments are building drainages, if they are building canals and other waterways, you know, to make the whole environment suitable for it, then we should also try our best to make sure that we do not block these drainages. I know you want to be part of this conversation. Please do well to, you know, use the handles you're seeing right now on your screen and be part of the conversation. Drop your thoughts, and we'll be picking them from there, picking all of your thoughts from, you know, the social media handles you're using. All right, I'll be leaving you to the Global Morning crew as Global Morning continues. I am Ogochi Mobna. To stay with us.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
At some point, you are asking yourself, is it not high time we turn away from flooding issues and maybe discuss some other things? But where you see videos, you see, I mean, generally visuals of the damage being done by flooding across this country end to end, even in places like Lagos, you'll be amazed of how that people in certain areas, even areas that are supposed to be for the elites,
Exactly.
are now using all sorts of alternatives just to ensure they survive. Sometimes they even get out of the area, you know, to safety.
Mhm.
You see people moving in their numbers from the island to the mainland,
Very
just so
true.
they can avoid the dangers of flooding. Yesterday, I mentioned in passing a very sad incident about flooding and things like that. And for a place like Lagos that is very populated, I mean, you're looking at the numbers are now saying about 30 million human beings. You can imagine the density, and you can imagine how further complicated that situation will be in light of flooding. And add to that, NIMET, Nigerian Meteorological Agency, is now saying that for a 5-day period or over a 5-day period, 19 states will be badly impacted by flooding. You know, like we said yesterday, are the governors listening? Are the authorities in those states? Because every state incidentally has an emergency management agency.
True.
But beyond their name and their mandates in principle or on paper, what are they doing to ensure that there's swift, actionable kind of strategy in terms of how they respond to these advisories?
You know, I mentioned before, and we are never tired of going back and forth when it comes to this issue of flooding, because every year, if you look at it from inception, we always talk about it, but we forget to talk about the precautionary measures that can be taken when it comes to these areas. Like I mentioned, there are some areas who have low density where water will always submerge there. Whether you have your canals or there are no drainages, even if they are, you have to do your bit when it comes to environmental sanitation, because most of the dirt that are thrown in all of those canals and drainages will actually it causes a blockage for the water to flow easily, which will result to flooding and all that when heavy rains occur. But at the same time, like I said, we keep going back and forth on this matter. I'm sure so many individuals out there are tired, completely tired of talking about it. Like you can imagine from this particular picture, you can see cars are almost, just imagine, it's not like it's a river or a lake. These are roads that are motorable, and you'll be shocked to see that water has submerged all the roads. Now, the individuals who are in authority have a role to play. Like I always said, when it's the dry season, that is where you need to re-strategize to say, okay, fine. Now that I can see what can be done, if I'm going to make this place higher, make it lower, make it more slopey for the water to, have easy passage and all of that. But I think because we are also laid back, I think we have to attach value to life, value to property, value to investment. When we do all of that, we'll know why it is important to prepare beforehand. Yes, the rain is a natural occurrence, I know. But at the same time, the harm, the damage in which it will cause will not be as much once we do our bit as individuals, as humans. I know it's a natural phenomenon. There's always rain, but what we do, our bit goes a long way. Our bit can actually curb, if not eradicate the menace, but at least at the same time, it will give it a sort of it won't be as high as the casualties or the loss in properties or investment that you will get. It will occur, but it won't be as high as that. So I think we have a lot to do. I think individuals have a lot to do. Those in authorities, NIMET, have a lot. They have a big... See, it's not all about you telling me the weather forecast for today. How am I aware that, okay, some individuals don't even look at it. Some don't even bother themselves. They don't know it's rain, but what is the danger behind not keeping your environment clean? What is the danger behind not observing sanitation? What is the danger behind when you just take a banana peel or your sachet water, you just throw it in the canal? What is the danger behind it? You need to enlighten the public. The public needs to know, whether in different dialects, whatever, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, just create the awareness for people to understand the danger it will cause in the long run. One, you have to explain to them that this can lead you, as small as that banana peel you think it is, the blockage that it can cause can actually result to lives being taken. Properties worth billions of naira. Someone that used his pension to build a house can be wiped out. Like I mentioned before, I said South has not regained, Bayelsa OD to be precise. They've not come back to that glory of those beautiful houses that you see because of the flood that happened.
Washed it all away.
Oh my goodness. The houses that when I visited Bayelsa, I saw beautiful. When I went there again, I was like, wow, this is like, it wasn't what I saw. That glamour, because the rain, it doesn't matter how well you paint it, the mark of the town itself, you know that the rain did a lot of havoc when it comes to places. And that's how it is in other places like Lagos, and like you mentioned, where elites, like you showed me a video where individuals were putting their cars in canoe and they were with police escorts in front, because you'll be shocked at Volkswagen, so many cars. But you see, that is what it is, that you might be in a high profile, high class place, but once the flood, when the flood comes, like you said, you might see yourself squatting in the mainland with a friend of yours, and you'll be wondering, when is this going to end? And we heard what Naimnet has said. 19 states will be grossly affected by the rain. So what preparations have we made beforehand? What have we done?
If we're to bundle all of these brilliant things Juma has said, and it just simply means that flood is a leveler. All right. When flooding comes, it brings all of us to the same level. So your financial status, your societal status is going to count for nearly nothing. Like Jim also referenced a while ago, we just saw a video, off camera, of how that even Rosemarys, for example, and everything, all right, trying to pass them through water to a safe place. But that's a lot of work to do. But again, you look at our roads today, because you can't talk about flooding and also talk about roads and not talk about, like you said, drainage systems that work. We must do all of that. What has happened to monies earmarked for ecological projects? All right, at the point we were even told more than a decade ago about how that there was supposed to be some sort of counter funding or partnership funding between federal and state governments. Federal government is supposed to bring XYZ amounts and billions. State governments individually ought to also bring their own part of it. Their quota, as they say, put it all together to address or arrest, whichever it is, the threats of ecology. But we're not seeing that happening. It's been one form of accusation after the other. It's been one governor coming to office and accusing his predecessor of mismanaging or even outrightly stealing the money meant for this kind of things. And nobody's answering questions.
No one. I visited a state because we just went for a holiday, and I was shocked when I saw heaps of dirt on the road. And I'm sure this particular state, the governor is aware, and you'll be shocked. I don't want to mention it, but I think the needful should be done. Heaps of dirt. Now, fast forward to this time now, individuals in that state heaping dirt on the road, and now the rains are here. You can imagine the detriment and the harm those dirts that you see heaped on the road will cause. I will not be surprised, I'm telling you the truth, if that state is among the 19 states that are going to be affected by flood. It will not come as a shocker to me at all. Because you can imagine you're driving from point A to point B, and you see heaps of dirt. You see cartons, you see banana peels, you see watermelon, you see, and you are just wondering, what is this? And we have a governor in that state, and you paint it like we're doing so much when it comes to showcasing what the state is all about. You talk about carnivals, and you just wonder, really? And that is part of the problem. You see, that's a systematic problem now. You see, I know the governor or the president cannot be in all of these places at once, but your delegates, have a role to play. It's very important. Like everyone keeps saying, okay, the economy is not right when it comes to fuel, when it comes to this, everybody's blaming President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which of course, but at the same time, he has individuals who he has put in that office to take responsibility. And I think that is the problem we have in Nigeria. We do not take responsibility. We always feel as if it has to do with what actually favors me as an individual before I can actually be a part of a solution. Right. Does it favor me? Does it favor my family? Does it favor what I'm going to do? Does it favor my pocket in the next 100 years? I think we have to have that empathy and sympathy in order for us to move forward. And I think that is why someone said something very vital yesterday. I picked on my program Insight today. He said, Juma, the system is not the problem. The system doesn't have mouths to speak. It is the individuals in that particular system that has corrupted the system. And I was like, really? This is true. The system is just on its own. It takes individuals who have empathy, sympathy, who realize that I need to make a difference. I need to come out and, I have to give my work, give my best in order for a system to work. So if we do not have the right individuals in the system, we'll just be stagnant. We will not move. We'll just be there. And that is what it is. And that is why we see all of this. And that's why we've gotten to this point that you can go to Lagos and see how it is now. You cannot even move from point A to point B because the place is flooded and more will still come. And we just pray that God will just show mercy.
All right. While God will always be merciful as a God, but we've got to do our part. I mean, when you mentioned some state a while ago where you said you'd not be shocked if that state happened to be one of the 19.
At all, no.
It just kind of reminded me of a story someone shared many years ago. How that a governor and his deputy had gone for an occasion where the governor was the chairman, of course, accompanied by his deputy. On their way back, it had started raining heavily and there was flooding along a particular express road. And then the governor is stuck like everyone else, all right? It was raining, it was flooded, and everybody was stuck. It was a jam, so there was no siren. I mean, siren was not going to help you now. Siren was not going to save you.
No.
So heavy was the rain that even your boys, the security guards, were not able to get in the rain to do anything. So everybody was helpless. Again, a while ago I said, flooding can be a leveler.
Yes, it is.
But here's the joke. The person says, at that point, the governor himself, now a former governor, looks at his deputy, also now a former deputy governor, and says, oh, boy, now, wow, is there a governor in this state?
Really? Are you kidding me?
But again, like you said, everybody must do their part.
Yes, you
So
must.
we don't get to a point where the governor of a state will also be asking if his own state has a governor.
That's
all right. So much to talk about this morning, quite frankly. But there's this very concerning story about undergraduates at the River State University complaining very bitterly about incessant robberies and all of those attacks in hostels. Of course, this is not a phenomenon that started this morning. All right, it's always been here. But it is disturbing for young people. It's traumatic knowing that these are undergraduates, these are the future leaders. And it raises the question as to hostel security. Of course, not everybody gets a room or a bed in the school hostel.
Sure.
So people are going to use private hostels, of course, off the campus and things like that, all right, which the school authorities are naturally not responsible for. It's not within their purview. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that it's a human angle, public interest issue.
Yes, it is.
That must be tackled because people have to stay safe, have to be safe to come for classes. So what happens if there's this, if you like, this streak of attacks on students who are not able to come to class or who are destabilized because they are not in the best headspace to come for lectures? So are we really paying attention or enough of it to issues around the safety and well-being or security of undergraduates who live in these hostels? Because when you talk about university education, housing is key. You can't take that away. And that's why abroad, when you want to gain, before you gain admission, they put all of the options in front of you, the housing options that you have.
Important.
So you look at what works for you, and then you latch onto it. In the case of Nigeria, it doesn't seem to be much of a priority for us.
It's not. And it's very sad because the truth is you cannot be in the lecture hall and you're scared that your properties will be wiped away in seconds. You might not have so much, but at least the little
for a student, whatever you have is so much.
It's so much.
Right.
Like I can remember back in the day in school, of course we had our clothes we had pots, we had little cam gas, we had all of those things were.
So you had a small sound player?
You had a sound player. Imagine coming back from lecture hall and the sound player. Oh my goodness. I can imagine. You're so funny. But at the same time, you need to, a serene environment is very important. Like, it just gives you that peace of mind to want to learn, and you have that, peace of mind. It doesn't come cheap. And that's why in Nigeria in which we are, we have to program our mind to ensure that we have peace of mind in all areas. So it's a very saddened situation where you are in your lecture hall and your mind is divided. Whatever the lecturer is telling you, please, bros, hurry up. Because what am I paying attention? When I get back, I do not have a gas cooker, or my clothes are gone, or something in the hostel. It's a very sad thing, and this is what it is. A lot of hardship. A lot of people find it hard to make ends meet. And you see, because some parents cannot afford to give their children the need, give their children enough. And that is why it has resulted to this what we see now in hostels. And it's just unfortunate. What are the security guards in that particular hostel doing? What are they doing? Are they connivers? Are they part of it? Because everyone cannot be out, because you know how it is in the higher institution. Your lecture time might be different from mine, because we have different faculties and all of that. But at the same time, what is their duty? Go round and check. How many of you are in the hostel? What is happening? What are you doing? So, because how can someone come out with a bag of things that you cannot check and say, identify yourself? So it's for me, there's a lot to it. So, but we have to play our part, and you know what the economy say. But I'm not saying it is right for you to steal other people's belongings or rob your fellow students, which is not a good thing, because these are our future leaders. And what you want to, is just. Well, the fact that I'm laughing, but the truth is, it's not a very palatable circumstance. But at the same time, investigations should go on, and the economy has taken a toll on so many parents that you'll be shocked that someone in university might have 10,000 naira to manage for 3 months.
That's an entire semester.
An entire semester. I'm telling you, it's true. And if you look at it, what can you actually do? The person is handicapped. I'm not saying you should steal. You can ask. I always tell people, it's better to ask. The highest person will tell you is no. If a person says no, move past it. God will always bring help if you're genuine, if you're sincere. But to steal and do that sort of thing to your fellow colleague, or will I say your fellow classmates, or the same person under the same umbrella in the same school, I think it's wrong in all levels. But I think we need to do a lot, and of course with the NEL fund coming in to make things easier. So I don't see why this is happening. So I think we need to do better. Students need to, and parents, guardians need to do better to explain to their children. I know they might be grown, they feel, but you have to make it a priority. You have to make it a norm. It is important that you must instill these good and godly values on your children. You might be as tall as an Iroko tree, but as long as I am paying your fees, I am paying your fees, I give you money for upkeep, you are still answerable to me. So when you are done with your higher institution, you have a job, you are independent, then you can do what you want. But as a parent, as long as you pay the bills, you must instill these good and godly values and explain to them why you should never. And I don't know, even from looking at secondary school now, you'll be shocked. Something happened, and then a friend of mine said, Juma, I do not know. I don't understand why some children in secondary school will actually steal. Now, I'm going to divert now. Will actually steal her child's water bottle. And I don't know, water bottles, sweaters, biro, pen, and all of that. Those basic things. And then your child brings these things home, and you do not ask questions. I don't get it. What are you promoting, or what are you teaching that child? That it's okay to take whatever doesn't belong to he or she? And that's how the child grows up. And now see that, because most of these kids that are doing all of these acts, their parents didn't tell them why it is wrong to do that. And that's why they have, it's now a habit. And now that is why it is part and parcel of them that they can go into someone's hostel, open the person's cupboard, take all the food stuff, even take the player, the one that you spoke about,
right,
and move and see nothing wrong with it. So I think we have a big role to play when it comes to these issues.
Right. Well, let's hope hostels take security concerns more seriously, and that we also find a way to build a system around all of this. We'll take a quick break again, everyone, at this point. When we return, so much to talk about on Global Morning. Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive, and in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
We appreciate you staying with us. Now, let's get our conversation this morning on the road for you. President Bola Tinubu is in the middle of his third year into his, 4-year term. Well, while there are those who say the president has been able to record some strides in terms of development, in terms of moving things from where they were when he took power on the 29th of May 2023 to where they are right now. Others are saying that they have concerns around the manner in which the president has made his appointments. They say they are lopsided. As a matter of fact, there are those who believe that the president is more interested in hiring from those he favors than looking at competence and having, if you like, a countrywide perspective on his choice of appointing people into public offices. How does that impact government? What does that mean for how his government is perceived? Is very key. This morning, joining us via Zoom from Lagos State in Nigeria is a lawyer, public affairs commentator, and the president, Yoruba Council Worldwide, Barrister Oladotun Hassan. I would like to say, first of all, a big thank you to you for allowing us to break into your very busy Thursday morning today. My colleague and I, Jumai Manson, will spend the next, say, 30 minutes talking to you about this very important issue. All right. So let's begin with these. President Bola Tinubu made his, announcement of his first cabinet members. That was the inauguration on the 21st of August in 2023. It's been 2 years now, exactly this month, and assessment has been done for 6 months, for 1 year, and then, of course, the second year is just around the corner. But let's quickly look at this very weighty allegation that the president's appointments are lopsided in favor of his people.
Well, the democracy we are working on is a democracy that is cracked on ethnicity, religious animosity, political acrimony, and the word opposition in this part of the world is not thoroughly opposition in its definition. It is all about a very more dangerous and weaponized syndrome that we call opposition. Opposition maybe from internal, from intra-political party within the party, and opposition from the so-called outside of the political party. And in all fairness, there is no way you want to adjudge a system without you linking it to either ethnicity or religion or by way of political interest. And it has been a recurrent decimal. And for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he met a very worse situation, economic situation, a decade situation, though from his own political party, being handed over to him by President Muhammad, late former President Muhammadu Buhari. And he made it so clear that this is the rot, to the extent of the rot he is faced with. And in order to clean the audience table, you have to bring technocrats. Technocrats are different from politicians. Technocrats are those who knows their onions and who can fix a problem. No matter how best you have to fix them, you have to know them very well in order to give them a duty to man for you. Either in the area of security, in the area of custom, in the area of finance, in the area of health, in the area of art and culture. Those that you know might not necessarily be from your clan. I can bet you today, the President Bola Tinubu's government, from the angle of a citizen watching from afar, this is not an ethnic centric government. This is a government that has pride almost every ethnic region, giving everybody equitable justice, going far and wide to make sure that insecurity is met. And it's considering when Lagbaja was there, we would have said that Lagbaja, maybe being a former chief of army staff, did not perform as a Yoruba man. The man died on the cause of pride and patriotism. In fact, if you want to say much, I do, in respect of which of the appointments are fall short. Even whereby their appointment that people will complain when Betta Edu was there, when people complain, he asked him to resign, to go on suspension. And he brought in an Hausa man. So who will now be comparing? It is only those who believe in ethnic chauvinism, who are more entrenched in that style of leadership. When they see anything that look alike, they will definitely just want to tag themselves along that is the scenario. And that is not the scenario. There are balance of appointment across board, from the security to every arms of from immigration to the police to the custom. These are basic rules of engagement. Can you compare a Buhari era that went and bring a retired general to come and head the custom, who is not even on the premise of leadership of that organization? We have the worst of scenario under the Hausa Fulani leadership of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And ditto, if you want to compare another ground of ethnic appointment, when you look at the manner of which when the former Okonjo-Iweala was at the Ministry of Finance during Obasanjo era, you cannot be at that ministry from A to Z from that ministry. That was the era whereby Southeastern gained more admission into that ministry. So, and when you see a Yoruba man, the Yoruba man is the only person, I'm sorry to say this, it might be somehow to you, but that is the reality. A Yoruba man is the only person that consider his neighbor before his own neighbor above his own family interest, because you want to look what will the outsider say, and that is the reason why I see much of his balancing of appointment, whereby in the issue that is bringing unnecessary chaos, that the Igbos are saying maybe because of the custom general extension of 1 year, there is a necessity and there is a grant for it. Any appointment at the level of the IG or the CG or the Chief of Army Staff is at the discretion of Mr. President. It's not by virtue of that promotional tendency itself. So if there is a need for that winning team to consolidate their program, you don't change a winning team on the premise of just necessity, because the same person who believes that, okay, if these people can perform and they can listen and get my result done, the way we see presidential system in this country is like sharing a pot of soup. But when we forbid merit, we would always get ourselves into the negotiating system we are getting ourselves through, which is truly a different ball game. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, this is the only government that is trying to have concentration on the people. We have not had it so easy, maybe because it's coming at the heels of when President Muhammadu Buhari, late former President Muhammadu Buhari, almost wrecked us into a civil war. If you know the kind of system we undergo under their leader, the same set of people that wrecked us, unfortunately and ungrateful to the majority of Nigerians, are now clapping for them under the coalition stuff there. They are going under the ADC. Where are the Malamis of this world? Are they not there when we are?
Sorry, Barrister Doctor, I just want to interject.
So to me, let's not be too maybe divisive in the way we defend. To me, I'm speaking on the premise of, is this person performing on the tax reform? Yes, there are progress on the economic front and agriculture. There are progress on the art and entertainment. There are progress. So the way we have to now come to balancing now, after much of food security, is how do we now plan our future with the government? How do we rescue the country with the opaque constitution that we are running on? We have a bad constitution. Nobody is talking about it. Everybody just seeking power. If you give them the power today, they will blame the outgoing government that they have not let them do anything.
All right, Barrister.
To me, it is all about
Barrister Dr. Ola, you are going to throw more light on when it comes to power. There's a point that you are going to throw more light on before I interject. Now, let us put aside ethnicity and let us put aside religion now. So all of these individuals who are being appointed by their president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are they merited, or do you think they are professional enough to handle such appointment?
Well, you have to tell me, where are they failing? Because for me, almost everybody gets an appointment within the government, not just as a political appointment. Some are progressional appointment within their own course of service, either in the Federal Civil Service, like the entire the head of service to the within the government's presidential cabinet, is it to the CBN, who the Minister of Finance and Economy, or every other person of other region that have gained appointment. Are you saying the Minister of Works is not doing anything, or the Minister of FCT is not doing it? They have their merits when it comes to delivery. One thing about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the time he has been in Lagos, I've studied him. We have been at loggerhead. We have fought on so many issues, but it is not a battle of hate that we are seeing. Because if a person is coming on the premise of hatred, a lot of his opposition that are campaigning against him today are not doing it on the premise of patriotism. They are only doing it on the premise of hatred. And if you hate somebody, you will never say anything good about it. And that is why I wouldn't like the way the kind of coloration our opposition has become today. They don't want any good thing to come out of our Nazareth. Everything they want is bad news, bad something to talk about every day. And God is trying to clear the ground for us. Instead of all of us to begin to look in that direction, that yes, there is a leeway now, that we are now on a democracy that have partitioned the country on 6 geopolitical zone development commission, a democracy that have brought about, that is talking about fighting the governors on the need for them to democratize the local government, because it believes that until the local government is freed, when the governors are holding them to jugular, over 28 governors, it took them to Supreme Court at his own premise of his own second term. Tinubu is taking a whole lot of risk by going against the North when it comes to the issue of tax reform. Now he's taking the risk that he dared to protect the country at the expense of his second term. If it were to be a nominal politician, he would just want to listen to every interest. And by the way, when he's wanting to balance every interest, then we will now find ourselves in the chaos. And that is the chaos we have been for over 60 years. Now somebody is coming with good set of heads. If you look at all the ministers in the entire ministries, it has been a balanced appointment across. In the government parastatals, we have more Hausa. Let me tell you, we have more Hausa in appointment than any other person, because they have entrenched themselves many years than all of us. So who is now to be blamed? So if somebody is now wanting to do something within 3 years that have been destroyed for over 6 decades, even beyond that, we are trying to now come on the premise of let us pull him down syndrome. We can't achieve any progress. The only thing I'm employing all our brothers from the Hausa Fulani who are campaigning. Let me tell you, in the North today, they see the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the premise of a hatred that some people, especially not all the Northerners, but those that are clamoring the removal of government, are not doing it because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have not built more roads in the North. He has not concentrated more investment in agriculture in the North. He has not concentrated appointments, schools, and education when he's paying NEL fund. The NEL fund today, the Northern region is far above 70% compared to the Southern region. Yet somebody would tell us from the North that this government is a Lagosian-owned government. No, you don't even call it a Yoruba government. You are naming it a Lagosian. No, it's not about Lagosian. Those he appointed must have been those he trusted that can do the job. And once you bring your 12, are you blaming Jesus Christ for having 12 disciples? He brought them from different tribes. And that's the way he brought people. Somebody might believe it. Do you know that all politicians have a house in Lagos today? So if you are now living in Lagos and you are now to come to Abuja, then does that make you a Lagosian? So if we are saying some certain things, we need to douse down the tension of hatred. And it's getting too much. If it's getting to the extent that we are seeing it, we of the Yoruba clan will retaliate as well. We'll begin to bring the records of what the Hausa Fulani did when they had government. I've just told you just one.
Thank you so much, Barrister Hassan. I want to help us pivot a little. Still the same conversation, though. You are a lawyer, and that's a blessing for us on the show this morning. There's something we call the federal character principle. All right. They say it helps us to ensure an even spread of appointments or whatever it is that we should enjoy as a nation, end to end, the federal character principle. In fact, some people even say that was what, in the first instance, informed the idea of Minister of State. Are we not dealing with a conflict?
Buhari never got any people, and yet
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. As it stands today, I mean, given this conversation we're having this morning on the program, are we not obviously dealing with a very strong conflict between the principle of federal character and the instincts and impulses and the inclination, or if you like, deference towards tribe and religion and what have you? How do we establish the federal character principle in such a way that regardless of who's in office, it becomes the guiding light at every point in time? It will appear we've lost stream with Barrister Hassan now. I'm just going to get to find out from him.
No, the federal character.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Came as a syndrome of our civil war. After civil war, we are looking for everything that to balance the unity of the country. Not that federal character is even a reality. Within state, we don't have federal character. Within local government, we don't have federal character. People pick people of their immediate region, family clan, even in state. So when we now come to the issue of federal, we have forgotten that if we do not love ourselves from the state as a people, we can never love ourselves at the national level. So when somebody who is more working earnestly to balance the system, we have to give him the necessary support. Tinubu today has entrenched the principle of federal character in his appointment, and merit is his cause of appointment. Merit. So if you are not merited of any appointment, you can't be there. And it does not do it on the premise of politics or either thing. But once you have got married and you can do the job, when he appointed the wife of Ojukwu, Bianca, people were clamoring, but she merited it because she has been an international ambassador before. She knows the job. So he's not doing it on the premise of ethnicity. You must be merited before you can gain it and earn it. So it's not just dashing appointment, and that's why some people are just crying and crying. No, he has what it takes to lead, and we need as a people to be patriotic. Now we are having a destructive system of campaign in the outside there. People are just seeing the president as a worse-off human being because that is the coloration their leaders are giving them every day, which is a dangerous mode that can divide this country into pieces. So the more we talk about divisive tendencies of this nature, especially those that call themselves opposition, which I don't see, they are more destructive agents of evil. So in the name of opposition, all they do every day is to look at what will bring the government down. They now go to the media, amplify it. The more you amplify, you're destroying your nation. You are not going to gain the respect globally. So the contribution people are making, even Peter Obi is making words of statement every day. He has never been patriotic to even congratulate Mr. President for one thing. He has never congratulated Mr. President for one thing. Is that how bad the president has been from day one? So even if you get there tomorrow, what is that significant thing that you want to do that has not been done now? Everything Obi is campaigning upon to do economically is what this government is taking bit by bit. But you have never commended. Even Atiku, all they do is to look out for where people will be killed every day. At the end of the day, go to the media, amplify it against the government, which are seditious. So to me, these leaders that call themselves leaders are not worth of our respect. So when we need our people, let the people themselves begin to love the country. However, the president is trying. He's not the best man. He's not the most excellent man, because no one is perfect. But with his capacity and wisdom, with his love for the country, he's making a whole lot of difference when it comes to governance, not politics. We have always been run on politics with liars that will come every day and deceive us and tell us the country is moving far and good. Look at how much Mrs. Desiani Maduke embezzled under Jonathan. Do you know what that could have built? So they all wrecked us because we have always leaned on democracy of deceit. But now, let us open our eyes, give all the necessary support to Mr. President. For me, not because I'm a president of Yoruba Council Worldwide, but because the man is doing well. And he deserves all our support to complete his vision beyond the 4 years. Let him lose the 8 years of resuscitating and restructuring and restoring the country. It's not about politics. If it is about politics, we will all go back home and now play politics. But because it's about governance, we are watching and we are taking the side of the people. You have always noted me, anytime the government is going the other way around, we criticize constructively and we always stand by the people. But this time around, Mr. President has balanced his appointment on equitable ground, and I can bet it. Go look at all the people there. People of Eastern region are praising Mr. President because Mr. President now increased the state allocation with over 10 times what they are getting. From the state allocation, he himself has devolved over 4 trillion each to each of the development zone. Which government is doing that? We have never had it so cool that monies will be devolved to the grassroots with ease, without anything. If no state today, the federal government is not owing state governors on infrastructural development. They are getting their money. They are even getting above. Look at Kwara State. State of even outside of APC at the camping, not because they just wanted the camp, but because they've not seen the kind of favor from.
All right.
Barrister Dotu, I just want to interject. Let's just digress a bit. And I think most of these allegations, we would say, some citizens, or like most of the citizens of Nigeria will say, this particular administration is not balanced when it comes to being one-sided in some areas. Now, let's take the removal of fuel subsidy, for instance. Some would tell you the removal of subsidy.
Mr. President has not from on always hear every.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. You said? Hello, Barrister Dotu, can you hear me? Barrister Dotu, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I said, let's just digress a bit. Now, for some, I know you've mentioned how the president has tried to create a balance when it comes to appointments, when it comes to all of these things encompassed. But some Nigerians will beg to differ. They would say, for as much as there is removal of fuel subsidy, I just want to digress a bit. For as much as they come out and they bring out all of these numbers, yet Nigerians are not feeling that weight of impact when it comes to areas of hike in transportation, hike in unemployment and all of that. I know you say this administration is trying to create a balance by giving appointment to individuals who can actually go out and do the needful. But at the same time, how come most Nigerians will beg to differ to say in some areas or in some sectors that weight of impact is not felt because they feel some of these individuals who are there are not empathetic enough to understand the plight of Nigerians? Don't you think so?
Well, you know, it will sound awful sometimes when you want to say something that is of the truth. The global economic meltdown and the aftermath of the COVID affected a lot of global prices everywhere globally. The Nigerian petroleum product was the cheapest when you come to, because of people that are hoarding up. People go to our filling station, buy our fuel because it has been subsidized, because the actual price on the dollar rate that they are on exchange global pricing would have been crossing above 1,000 plus to what we are looking at in terms of dollar rating, because this is a global market thing. It's not about the local market. Now, on that premise, a lot of our petroleum products are even being sold in Ghana, Republic of Benin, at the actual rate that those things are being sold in their own country. Not because those countries did wrong, because that is the global market. When something is of a global interest, it will take a whole lot to letting the people to understand. So the pains, we all are groaning in that pain. It is an effect. We are all faced with that pain. But the problem now is, if this solution, the way every campaign, the presidential hopeful then in 2023 campaign, that all of them are going to remove the fuel subsidy. Either you remove it haphazardly, you remove it softly. The fuel subsidy today is bringing about a recurrent solution. The fuel is now coming down from 1,500 now to 800, meaning is coming downward every day. It's not increasing. Go and check, fact check what we are saying. Because of the economy balancing, state of economy is trying to get balance. Even when rice was 150, now it's getting to 50,000. Some other things are sliding downward because of the shock of that decision. Because that decision itself, what Mr. President did in order to ameliorate that pain, was to increase state allocation, put more resources in the hands of the governor. When the governors now find it as a bonanza, Mr. President went to court to fight at the Supreme Court to interpret that the independence of the local government must be seen and manifestly seen to be done. That if no local government conduct election, they will not get allocation. So that is democracy for us. It might be painful, but our own democracy is not the worst of it. Look at what American government is doing today, putting tariffs on every country that have not done anything. We did not hurt them. Here they are giving us 30% on their whole product. If Nigerians were to also retaliate, let us also give America 100% of tariff on every of their products. It will now become more messier. There's a whole lot of interest across the globe happening today. So Chinese and other countries are having their own war. Thank God the way we are, all that is battling us today is the love of our country. Patriotism is the only missing thing. Once all of us have it, and we see our president as a leader, and we put love in our hearts to see and pray and let us work together. And when Mr. President is missing his part, we all guide him aright, like when Abraham is leading. So we have to guide like a mosaic guidance. Mm-hmm. Even when Moses was leading the people of Israel, he did not just lead personally. They rallied around him. So people must rally around their president. If this president do not achieve those things he wanted, it's not about political promises. We have lived a life of political promises and it has gotten us nothing. We have lived a life of ethnicity, it has gotten us nothing. Now we are having democracy and seeing our best in order to do it. Some people will go all out. Let me tell you, I can't begin to hide my face in the manner of hatred the southeastern people are doing almost every day. They are even trying to make us see as if we are not all Nigerians, because the kind of campaign, the kind of manner of publications I read every day about them does not show love. And you cannot express hatred and you don't expect somebody to give you in your own coin. Look at the other day, somebody was telling that, oh, he did not like Peter Obi, because it is not that so. Peter Obi promoted hatred. I'm not saying this, let him come and challenge me that is not deceitful. Look at his phone conversation with Oyedepo, telling that this is all about Christian, it's all about Christian, let the Christian vote en masse. He can't deny it.
Oladotun,
no speculation, please. No speculation. He has never, let me say some certain things. When it's about Tinubu, it will be reality. When it's about Peter Obi, it's about speculation.
No,
we don't balance things. That's why we are being deceived as a people.
You know, when you said stuff about when you said about the appointments that were given, of course, like I wanted to interject to say, of course, the CDF, the Chief of Defense Staff, he's not from the South. He's from Kaduna. So, of course, there's a balance when it comes to that. But when you bring up speculations...
And do you know that after the Chief of Defense Staff has been appointed, no more killing in Southern Kaduna?
Peter Obi, now that's an eyebrow. Those are allegations, so we shouldn't put a thumb on it yet.
No, my sister, let me tell you, see, the reality is that we are all in the system. Since the situation is all about some certain people, they all go to the social media and make it look reality. When it becomes what they did, instead of them to stand by their own word. Peter Obi have lied many times, Atiku have lied many times, but have we had it right from them? What I'm saying is that they need to wear the cap of patriotism, work in hand with the government. If it is the turn for them to campaign, let them campaign on the premise of what is good and not how they need to hate the people. Do you know that the more they are campaigning to hate Tinubu, when it becomes their own turn tomorrow, let me tell you one thing.
Barrister Dotun, you agree with me?
No, they're not. It's not about opinion.
To their own opinions. And of course, you might send it as a lie, but you might not send it as a lie. So it depends.
Let me tell you the consequence.
Okay.
The consequence is the fact that if it now becomes their own turn, the Yorubas will come out loudly to hate them. That is the consequence. Because it will now become hatred versus hatred. And no one is seeing it. That is what caused our civil war. That is what led us into the first civil war. And we are still wrecking our country on the premise of another civil war if care is not taken. Because the whole people now have been demonized in one way or the other. Igbos are always going every day to the media. They will campaign. When the Igbo people campaign against the professor in LASU, you did not call it hate. People are campaigning, oh, this is Yoruba thing. They always want to anything Yoruba. You can't even go on some platforms. I exited on some platform because some Igbo people always see that they can always say, abuse you. When you now reciprocate and tell them the truth, they will throw out all their cautions because people are not telling them the truth. No one is wanting to be attacked.
Right.
I'm being seen from the opposing side. No, let us balance it. When Obi did wrong, let all of us tell him you did wrong.
Barrister Hassan,
so
yes,
to me,
I think you're right.
I'm a leader and I can say things from the premise of where I'm standing.
Yeah, you have a very valid point there. We need to step on our brakes with these narratives and rhetorics around hate and all of that. But let's talk about 2027, because we can sit here and pretend all money. But we do know that this is about 2027 ultimately. Going into 2023 election, we had a similar conversation about the Muslim ticket.
Exactly.
Today, it is even worse. It is even deeper. It is even further than that. It is now about ethnicity. It is now about where you come from, who is being appointed, the Lagos Boys phenomenon, and all of that. Talk to us in 2 minutes about the implications of all of this for the 2027 election.
Well, the implication will be very grievous if the people do not come out of the shelf of freedom. Especially, I'm talking now to Nigerians, true Nigerians, that let us look on the premise of neutrality. Let us be neutral. If Peter Obi, if any of these people are campaigning, let all of us as Nigerians maintain neutrality to read in between the lines. Remove the speck of religion, remove the speck of ethnicity, remove the speck of political party acrimony. Now look at all these leaders from their birth to today. What is the difference that they themselves have made in their personal lives? Though the beautiful ones are not yet born, that's what they say. But if we all can still unite, develop our spirit just the way we always unite around our footballers, let us have that oneness. That oneness is just the only missing link when it comes to our development. Once we can have that oneness, let us follow the step now that a government has come to say, okay, it's wanting to do something and it's tangibly raising the bar at all spectrum. What have not been done before, those things are not political gimmicks. These are the reality. Somebody working day and night, increasing agriculture, road infrastructure. You might say those things are not worth it because what your leaders are telling you that, oh, instead of us doing the Calabar road, we can go fix other intra road. They are fixing the intra road. They are doing it because.
All right, Barrister Dotto, thank you so much for your input and, of course, your wealth of knowledge. Thank you for being a part of Global Morning this amazing morning. Of course, we will be inviting you subsequently to join us on more discuss on national issues. Thank you so much, Barrister Dotto Hassan. All right, now, of course, that was a very heated conversation.
It was. I mean, I just want to add my 2 cents to that. Somebody once said several years ago, was during a public gathering, that when you need to get surgery for your child, you're not interested in the religion or tribe or ethnicity of the doctor. You just need a surgeon who knows what they are doing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to politics, it has to be somebody from Jumai's village, or someone from Uyi's ethnic group and things like that. We can do better than that.
Yes, we can do better than that. Understanding that we are all one Nigerian and one Nigeria is one country, and it takes you and I to make this particular country. So we have to understand that there is unity in diversity. I think we should understand that. Well, at the same time, for every opinion, it's Barrister Oladotun Umar's Hassan's opinion. It has nothing to do with global television. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and at the same time, we create a balance in all of that. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program Global Morning this beautiful Thursday morning. Like Barrister Dotto said, the beautiful ones are not yet born. How do you agree with that?
Well, my sons want to see the beautiful ones.
That cracks me up. All right, thank you all so much for being a part of Global Morning. I am Jumai Manzit and my amazing co-host.
I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe. We appreciate you for watching.
Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye.